kind of gray up here. Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. Hope you're doing well. That is one reason why I cut my hair pretty short, because it hides the gray that seems to come in. Can't do anything about this, but anyways, welcome back. It's a junk drawer video. I'm already digressing from the get-go, so you're in for a treat. But yeah, I have a lot to talk about. I have some digressions. We're going to get some life updates. Talk about my June on the range recap. Channel updates. What's on the horizon. And a book haul. So, buckle up. I keep expecting the train to make noise. It probably will throughout this video. So let's talk first and foremost about something that's near and dear to my heart. Buying books. And especially buying books from thrift books. And one of the banes of my existence is stickers when you see on books. Specifically, Goodwill stickers. So I ordered off of Thrift Books a copy of The Good Old Boys by Elmer Kelton. I have a mass market paperback copy. It's going to fall apart. I also have it on my Kindle. So it's like, why'd you buy? I wanted a physical copy that was better than the mass market one I had and I got for like $1. So I ordered this, and when it came, there's two issues. The first issue, noticeably, was when I was removing stickers. I removed the thrift book sticker, which I don't usually have a problem with, but then there was a Goodwill sticker here. And it just butchered the heck out of this book. But that's not why I asked Thrift Books for a refund or a better copy. When you open the book, it immediately falls open because the binding is split, and it's going to break. And so I contacted Thrift Books and filled out information online, quick and easy, and they're gracious enough to replace it. This is the second time I've had to do this, and they sent me a much better copy, and as you can see, the binding is way stronger. It's in good shape. So my point is that I will give Thrift Books its props. They have great customer service. This is the second time I've had to do this. I will say what this book was rated for. It came in, with the spine damage, it definitely feels like it should have been rated less than what it was. But nevertheless, I got the copy I should have to begin with, and I'm happy about it. So just wanted to share that. But yeah, anyone else have problems with Goodwill stickers? What do you do? I mean, I've tried WD-40, a hairdryer, tried to loosen up the adhesion. They're terrible. That's why I don't see myself very often going into Goodwill at all, but let alone to see what their books are. So, but anyways, a couple other fun things. So, I work a bingo session at our local American Legion. It's part of a fundraising for the school and its boosters, and so I usually work that bingo session on Thursdays when I am working. And there's quite a crowd there. There's a lot of people that enjoy playing bingo, especially older people, retired people. And there is quite a group there that are regulars that I jaw and ham with. And there's an older couple that go. And a couple of weeks back, it happened to be their anniversary. It was their 70th wedding anniversary. And so I asked the gentleman, I asked him, I said, do you got any advice for how to get to 70 years? And his answer really kind of caught me off guard. He looked at me dead serious and he said, patience. And in thinking about that now, it's been a few weeks. One, it's great advice. Secondly, I find myself as I get older that I listen to my elders more because I realize they have stuff to offer. Experience, knowledge, little nuggets of advice. And yeah, that one really stuck with me, patience. And after, 26 years of marriage, 70. Wow. Wow. But anyways, I thought that was interesting. And then lastly, comments. I got this comment from out of the blue from someone that has been checking out some of my Louis L'Amour Sackett book reviews, and this is why I think book reviews matter. BookTube in general matters. It's comments like these. Now, I get other comments that are really, really great, and I enjoy all the engagement. But it's definitely comments like these where you realize, someone is using my book reviews as precursors before they go in and read these books, and they're really enjoying them and are very thankful for them. And that that means a lot. It really does. So I wanted to share that. Let's move on to some life updates. Work is absolutely nuts. It really is. We're getting ready to be on our busy season. The next 4 to 5 months are going to be crazy nuts for me. Content will likely slow down. I'm going to talk about all the content I had in June. I went hog wild. It's probably no surprise, but it's definitely going to be a little bit of a contrast in the future months compared to June. Some other good news: Carly, she got a dog. Yes, she is living in Indiana this summer with her boyfriend, and they decided to take the dive and pick up a dog. This is a Sammy. He is a golden doodle, and my wife and I, we kind of spent a weekend away, and we went with Carly to pick up this dog. We had to go all the way up to the northeast part of Indiana to pick the dog up. And funny thing is that there's Amish up there in the northeastern part of Indiana. I always thought, most of the Amish were in Pennsylvania or in central Illinois, but there's Amish in Indiana, the northeastern part of Indiana too. So yeah, Sammy's doing well. He's about 3.5 months now. Life is very different for Carly this summer with a dog, which I told her it would be, and yeah, she's realizing that. But yeah, she's also working on her master's and everything else, so she's having a great time. Thankfully, she was staying in Indiana with her boyfriend because her apartment where she lives in central Illinois, we had, over the course of the last couple weeks, we've had some severe weather. Storms have come through. We had a tornado hit in one of the towns about 30 miles away. It's been nuts in terms of weather, especially winds and severe thunderstorms and tornado watches and warnings, and sirens have been going off here locally. There are a lot of tornadic activity in central Illinois the last month. So we're thankful everyone's doing okay. I have a couple employees that dealt with some home damage, and so things have been crazy in central Illinois weather-wise. So I'm glad she was in Indiana during this, because the town that she lives in normally, her apartment's at, they were under an emergency, state of emergency for the last week or so because of all of the damage. So unhauling. I've been hinting about the Spencer series by Robert B. Parker. I'm going to be unhauling those books. It just doesn't seem like it's a collection for me, a series for me. And so I'm going to be unhauling them. I wasn't over the moon about book number 1, and I just got this gut feeling, and I have so much other books that I want to read and I'm enjoying. So I'm going to take the dive, free up some shelf space, get some trade credit, and get those books turned in. And then secondly, and I'm hauling around this, I'm thinking about getting rid of some of my Stephen King collection. Yes, you heard that correctly. So I have all Stephen King's works except Holly. I have refused to buy that book unless it's free. I just didn't like what he did with the character or how he integrated his politics in that story heavy-handedly, and so I have never picked up that book. But that's another discussion. In terms of Stephen King's books, I have every other book. And obviously, there's certain books I'll probably end up keeping, the Dark Tower series being one of them. So I'll definitely keep my Dark Tower books. But I'm also interested in keeping probably a handful of other books, standalone books that I really, really enjoy. The Stand, It, Revival, Tommyknockers, probably a couple others. Probably Desperation and Regulators. I really enjoy those 2 books, and probably a couple others. But the collections, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, Night Shift, Skeleton Crew, Everything's Eventual, Just After Sunset, there's a bunch of different collections. Those are, if you like it darker, I definitely want to keep those because I think Stephen King really shines when it comes to short story form than some of the terrible endings he has in his longer books. So yeah, I'm hem hauling. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, yeah, yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it. So let's move on to June on the Range, give you a little recap. So in June, I read 14 books. I had a great reading month. 11 of those were Westerns. Yes, I read 11 Westerns in the month of June. Um, I read 2 Louis L'Amours, 2 William W. Johnstones, 2 books by Thomas McNulty, 1 Elmer Kelton, 1 Luke Short, 1 Elmer Leonard, and 2 from Robert Randisi. Really great month in terms of reading. The average rating for my June reading, Westerns and the other the non-Western books, was a 4.4. It was a fantastic month in terms of reading. I also read 8 short stories. Average rating on short stories was a 4.2. And it was kind of a pretty contrasting difference. I read the short story collection, or read 4 short stories from Elmer Leonard's Western Stories collection. I really love them. And then I read 4 short stories from different authors from the Golden Spurs collection. And so my favorite short story was Trouble at Rindo's Station by Elmer Leonard. It was a great short story. I really enjoyed it. One thing to say, I did have 1 5-star read, Elmer Kelton, The Good Old Boys, Huey Calloway. It was a 5-star read for me, which is a big deal. So I wanted to point that out. June on the Range was excellent. I enjoyed every part of it. I got a lot of content out there for you all. A lot of book reviews, book hauls, why you should read Westerns video, which I was really happy and enjoyed making. Yeah, a lot of content. Year to date, I'm at 57 books read through the first half of the year. Right where I kind of need to be. I'm a little shy of my 10 a month, kind of, but I'm right there. And then short story wise, I've read 24 year to date, which is way below where I normally am, but I'm starting to get back in the habit of reading short stories. So hopefully I can get those numbers up throughout the rest of the year. In terms of video content, I did 21 videos in June, which is way more than I anticipated. But as you know, it's June on the Range. I've really gone hog wild, and I was hog wild again last year. And in fact, based on the amount of reading I did in June, I had to go all the way back to the previous June where I read 14 books as well. Most of the other months between the previous June and this June, I've read way less than 14 books. And so you can definitely tell June is definitely an uptick for me. But yeah, Westerns are usually shorter, so that it kind of makes sense that the number of books would go up. But yeah, really enjoyed June on the Range. Let's talk about some channel updates. So as I teased in a post and in a AI generated thumbnail, I was giving some thought to going Western. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that. It was definitely a thought that's crossed my mind. A lot of you are all like, no, don't do it. And so I will say this, my channel is probably going to have, more content that's going to be Western driven. I'm starting to, look at, the library. I'm starting to go back and look at reviews, and I have some numbers for you. So of the books I've read in 2026, 31% have been Westerns. And my physical library is now up to 30% Westerns. As it changes, as I unhaul and haul books in, 30% of my library, almost a third, is Westerns. And almost a third of the books I've reviewed this year in 2026 have been Westerns. So even though I'm maybe not going exclusively Westerns yet, I'm definitely heavily, reading Westerns. And yeah, so there's more to come on that. There's a video that is coming that I'll talk about in a minute, that I'm talking about some of the series and its updates, etc. But yeah, so in general, I guess my overall thoughts around the channel is, in my update for it, is you're going to see probably organically more Western content, Western driven content, whether it's book reviews or whether why you should read. I'm actually working on a why you should read that's based on a Western author. Um, Character deep dives. I'm interested in doing some character deep dives on some characters as soon as I get a little further along in the series. But yeah, really enjoying some characters. I mean, I read some great characters. Louis L'Amour was a standout in June. Fallon was a great character. Shalico was a great character. Yeah, really cool. Sky Blackwood from Thomas McNulty was a great character. Huey Calloway. I mean, Taggart was a really good character. No, not Taggart. Target. Target was a good character. I knew I was going to mess that up. From Robert Randisi, that book was really good. I enjoyed his character. You know, Frank Morgan from Johnstone. I mean, Westerns have a lot of great characters. But yeah, the channel in general, more Western-driven content is going to be coming. It's just, I'm really enjoying Westerns, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. And I'm branching out into other authors. I mean, I read, 6 or 7 different authors for June on the Range, and I really enjoyed it. So let's talk about what's on the horizon. So, coming soon, we're going to be doing our Wheel of Time live discussion. Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems and I are going to be talking about The Dragon Reborn, book number 3 in the Wheel of Time series. I think it's going to be awesome. August is coming. I've hinted about this, Indie Author August. You know, that's a reading event that I started last year. I plan on reading some indie authors, Thomas McNulty being one of them, and in the month of August. So kind of low key. I definitely, if you're interested, it's an easy reading event. You read 2 books by indie or self-pub authors, and you talk about them. It's pretty easy. You know, you can add that into your other plans. Doesn't really cause you any anxiety. So, and it helps get them out there, get them known, you know, seeing their books talked about. I will say, to this date, my most viewed video is a book review for Nicole, one of her books that I read last year. And so, yeah, over 6,000 views. It's my highest viewed video on the channel. And it's an indie author book. So, just throwing it out there. More book reviews. You know, I did a ton of book reviews in June, but there's going to be more coming. I think those matter. As I mentioned in the comments, book reviews do matter. And it's nice to see that. I've felt like for the last couple months especially that BookTube has changed quite a bit. It's a lot about top this or top that, or books that got me out of slump, or here's my books that, you know, defined my reading, or books. A lot of videos like that where you list out, here's this book and why, and here's this book and why. And then the other kind of shift is, instead of necessarily calling it a book review, they come up with a title that's really catchy, and they kind of hem-haw around doing book reviews. I've noticed a lot of that, and I'm not going to name names because I don't want to call people out, and it's their channel, they can do what they want kind of thing. But doing actual reviews, you know, and trying to keep them spoiler-free is interesting because I think it gives perspective, and I think, especially as you grow an audience and people come to realize, like, hey, your reading tastes kind of mirror what their reading tastes are, they're interested in what you have to think, or what you have to say about a book, especially after read it, especially if they've been contemplating that series or that author or that book. So, yeah, more book reviews will be happening. I caught up on 3 book tags. Yeah, it's been a while. I think it was end of April was the last time I did a book tag. I did create a tag in the month of June for June on the Range, but it's been a while since I've responded to tags, and I had 3 that came across. I was tagged in that I came across in the last several weeks, and so I worked diligently on doing my response to those book tags, and so those are going to be coming in July, so be on the lookout for them. I already have them recorded and scheduled and ready to go. Reshuffled TBR number 21 is coming out, plus I give a series update in that video too, so be on the lookout for that. I will be talking about what I'll be reading in the near term and talking about some of the updates I've made to some of my priority series. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm working on a Let Me Know video. Yes, I'm working on a Let Me Know video. And so, yeah, I think I've got the first draft done. I'm just kind of ready to kind of talk through it and see if it makes sense and then record. So I envision that coming out in July, so be on the lookout for that. And now let's move on to what you've all been waiting for, the book haul. So let me get set up. So, book haul time. When Tina and I spent a weekend over in Indiana, there was a Books A Million pretty close to our hotel, and I always love going in there. Books A Million has a decent amount of books, reduced price books, and I noticed even in the Books A Million, the Western section was like about the size of one of my bookshelves. It was pretty dismal. But I did find some books that are interesting. They were all non-Western books, and they were reduced price, so I was all about it. I picked up this one. It is a collection of stories of the apocalypse. It's called Wastelands, and it's edited by John Joseph Adams, featuring stories from a plethora of authors. In here, you have Stephen King, George R. R. Martin, Jonathan Lethem, Gene Wolfe, Octavia Butler, Mary Rickards, Jonathan Lethem, Jack McDevitt, John Lanigan, David Grigg. But yeah, really sounds really cool. They're all around stories from the apocalypse kind of theme stories. So it sounded really cool. I'm a fan of collections. So I picked this up. And then I picked up a Joyce Carol Oates hard case crime book double feature. Yes. So this is 2 complete novels and 2 never before collected stories from Joyce Carol Oates, hard case crime, double trouble. So there is Starbright Will Be With You Soon, The Murderous Soulmate, and An Unsolved Crime. So there's a couple kind of short entries or novellas, and then there's 2 books, hard case crime books within this. So it's really cool. I just love these books. Their covers are so cool. And then I got this hard case crime too that was reduced. Both the hard case crime books I got for $10. I think this was $7. And so this is The Crime Stories of Ray Bradbury. It's Killer Come Back to Me. So this sounded really cool. There is about 17 or 18 crime stories in here by Ray Bradbury. So it's a hard case crime edition. Really cool cover. So I picked that up. And then I was at some of the used stores I normally go to, and they were having some sales on some books. So I picked up this stack of books I got. These were all $1 a piece. And so I picked up a Ray Hogan. This is my first Ray Hogan, I believe. It is The Doomsday Marshal and the Hanging Judge by Ray Hogan. I picked up Louis L'Amour, The High Graders. I picked up 2 Gunsmith novels. I picked up The Sapphire... I told you the train would come. The Sapphire Gun. And I picked up The Last Ride, which could be a euphemism, but who knows? I mean, it's the Gunsmith. But yeah, I enjoy these for what they are. So I picked up 2 more. I picked up a book in the Harry Bosch universe that I didn't have that I found for $1. This is The Gods of Guilt by Michael Connolly. Continue to expand my collection of Harry Bosch universe. I picked up Will Henry, The Bear Paw Horses. Just a really cool cover, even though it's got this stupid mark on it. But yeah, really cool. And it's in really good condition too. So even though it's an older book and kind of beat up, it's in good condition. Will Henry's an author I want to get to. And then I picked up another Repairman Jack. I have yet to start the series, but I'm interested in starting it soon. And that's by F. Paul Wilson. It is All the Rage. And so then I was at another store and I found some books that I was interested in. And I picked up all of these books. I believe it was $21 for all these. But I picked up 2 Ed McBain books. I picked up Downtown by Ed McBain. And then I picked up, this is one of his, I believe his Matthew Hope books, which I am slowly acquiring when I see them. And it is There Was a Little Girl. I picked up 2 more Gunsmith novels. I picked up The Hanging Judge. And I picked up Ace in the Hole. Sticking with some of the Western themes, I picked up some William W. Johnstone. I picked up Butch Cassidy and the Lost Years. This was based on a recommendation, a comment from, I believe it was Jack Yo, who commented on this, that, like, hey, you need to check this out. I just read this. It was really good. And so I definitely am interested in it. It said in the back, it says, in a small Texas town in 1950, a Pinkerton detective interrupts an old-timer's game of dominoes to learn the truth about Butch Cassidy, who is still very much alive and well. In fact, he's the old-timer playing dominoes. Seems that after surviving the infamous shootout in Bolivia that claimed the life of his partner, the Sundance Kid, Butch returns to Texas searching for a place to call home. Sounds like an interesting kind of premise, so I picked that up. I picked up another Frank Morgan book in the last Gunfighter series. I picked up No Man's Land. Then I picked up 2 Wayne D. Overholser books. I picked up Twin Rocks. And then I picked up The Durango Stage. And then I picked up, this one was really cool. This is Lauren D. Estelman. It's Murdoch's Law. And I believe this is part of a series about U.S. Deputy Paige Murdoch. And so definitely going to have to be interested in trying to find the first book in the series, but I picked this one up. And then I've been talking about this for a long time. So slowly when I see Louis L'Amour books out there that I may have, but in better condition, I pick them up, especially if the price is right. And this one definitely was. But I've been talking a lot about Milo Talon. That is one of my most wretched looking books, but here it is. This is my copy of Milo Talon by Louis L'Amour. Yes, there's no back, there's no front. Yes, it's pretty bad. I mean, technically it's still together, but yes, it's pretty bad. But I finally found Milo Talon out there. It's not the original Bantam that I like that has the better cover art, but it's definitely a way better conditioned book. And so I picked this up, Milo Talon. And that is the haul, and that is the video. I hope you enjoyed this junk drawer video. Lots to talk about. What a great reading month in June. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that's on the horizon. Even though things are going to be busy professionally and the content may be down, I am going to try my darndest to keep doing book reviews and other things that are interesting, working on a let me know video. And there's been some great life updates. So it's all been great. I hope you guys are doing well as yourselves and reading something great. And I will talk to you all soon. Thanks.